What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball. You know, growing up, I was always one of those people that's like, I can't stand when they put a mock draft out like right after the last draft happens. I don't know, I just think it's a weird practice. But now that I'm in this YouTube space, I kind of understand why. And don't get me wrong, there's some benefit to looking ahead at like this next group of players, right? One, it's just going to be interesting that we can kind of cover it throughout a whole season, but I just think it's good to start doing your homework now. Just because one draft is over, like we might as well start studying for the next one, right? So today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at like the current like top 30 players going into next year's draft, kind of like the big board or whatever. And I'm honestly not familiar with like a lot of these names, or at least I presume that I'm not going to be familiar with a lot of them. I haven't looked at the list yet, but I figured we could go over them today. You guys can give me your thoughts if you guys have any like insight on any of these dudes, and we can just go from there. But hey, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment on my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. Let's get into the video. Alrighty, so the 2025 NBA Draft Big Board, Cooper Flagg and the other top 20 or top 30. Yeah, so I think we're all familiar with Cooper Flagg, right? Like, I don't think I really have to like surprise anybody by showing that he's the number one guy, right? So for those of you that don't know, Cooper Flagg, aka the main attraction, gonna be a freshman at Duke this year, coming out of Maine. That's why they call him that. I guess we could say kind of Larry Bird-esque, like mostly because he's a big white guy that shoots really well. But no, like there's a lot to love about this guy's game. Obviously, he's on the Team USA select team right now, and we've all seen the highlights of him playing with the NBA stars and everything. He looks like he's gonna be an incredible player. Like just from the film that I've watched of him and everything, he looks incredible to me. Everybody I've talked to, because I do know a couple people that are involved in the Team USA circuit, they're like, yeah, no, good guy. Like he's soaking it all in. Like he's going to be a hell of a basketball player. So we're all excited to see him. Obviously, the shooting, the ball handling, the athleticism at that height. Because what is he? Is he 6'9", 6'10", something like that? Going to be an incredible basketball player. Duke back on top. Easily could just be a super hated guy in college basketball next year, just being a white guy at Duke, right? I mean, it's kind of what happens, right? But I'm really excited to see him. I think we'd all be shocked if he wasn't the number one pick next year. We've already started the tank for Cooper Flagg jokes and everything. So yeah, no, I can't wait to see some Cooper Flagg. But who do we got next? Dylan Harper. Alrighty, if you guys have been watching my a college coach rebuild series, you're very familiar with Dylan Harper. He's Ron Harper's kid. I know he's kind of like a combo guard as of right now. He's like 6'4", 6'5", something like that. Stupid athletic, can put the ball on the floor a little bit. Has shown that he's a pretty solid shooter on like a lot of the circuits and things like that. It looks like he was on like the Team USA maybe under 18 team or something like that. He's going to Rutgers along with one other of the top dudes next year's. I believe that's Ace Bailey, if I remember correctly. So I used to be like so in the know with like the recruiting and everything when I was still in college. Like obviously at that level I was very in tune to like where are all of these prospects, right? Like that just used to be my thing. Now that that's not really what my business deals with anymore, I'm not as in the know on a lot of this stuff. There's a lot of people to keep track of at the end of the day. You know what's so funny is I remember names like last always. I'll always remember a guy's face and how they play basketball, and then I'll remember their name. So that's always a struggle for me. But Dylan Harper, man, going to Rutgers. Really excited to see him play. He could be a guy that comes in and becomes a dynamic scorer in the NBA right away from the bit that I've seen of him, so excited to see him. Next guy, yep, the next Rutgers guy that makes sense, Ace Bailey. Yeah, more of a lengthy wing type to add to the Rutgers lineup. 6'8", 6'9", something like that, dummy athletic type dude, right? It's always so hard to tell with a lot of these young guys. I've seen people compare him to like T-Mac, Paul George, things like that, right? Like kind of that kind of archetype of player that can put the ball on the floor a little bit, but they're lengthy and athletic. We should just qualify, like, most of the people that I talk to expect that this is going to be a pretty good draft class this next year, right? Like people are saying that looks like a lot of top end talent, and it kind of continues through the rest of the draft, like a lot of real physically gifted players at the very least. So I'm very curious to see kind of where it all goes in them. But Ace Bailey out of Rutgers, and I hope you guys don't expect I'm not going to give you like a ton of analysis on these guys. One, because I might just not be familiar with them, but also like I don't know how much I can judge like high school film and everything like that. It's just, you know, what are you going to do? I mean, Justin Edwards was the top guy coming in last year and he didn't even get drafted, right? It's just, there's a ton that can happen, right? So I just think it's fun to get familiar with these guys, and that's the purpose of this video, get familiar with the names. Who do we have next? Hugo Gonzalez. Okay, so I've heard a bit about Hugo Gonzalez. Yeah, Real Madrid guy. What is he? He's like 6'6" or something like that. Really smart player. He showed like quite a bit in some of the tournaments this year. What do we got got going on here? A projected top 10 pick last October, he's shown more on-ball development with his handle and creativity at the youth levels, and his motor intensity and physicality is something you see with all the foreign guys continue to stand out during off-ball plays and defensive possessions. Again, that's the foreign game, right? They're just coaching them the right way out there. Gonzalez's shooting will be under a scout's microscope, but he's still a confident shot maker for a 6'6", 18-year-old, and he excels in other areas, both athletically and fundamentally. Okay, that should be interesting, right? 6'6", kind of playmaker, and hopefully a shot creator. Hey, we'll take it, right? Especially if they've got all the other fundamentals and they can play without the basketball. Makes a ton of sense to me. Ooh, this is the one I was waiting for. VJ Edgecombe. So VJ's in a bit of a different situation, right? Because he's playing for the Bahamas national team, so the Bohemian team, if you will, right? He's going to, Baylor, which I'm always a little bit concerned about people that go to Baylor. I don't need to elaborate on that too much, but VJ Edgecombe, obviously we're getting to see him play against pros right now. Looks pretty solid all said and done. I know we all saw the dunk he had on Nikola Vucevic or whatever. He's just showing that he can play without the basketball right now, right? He's delegating to a lot of his more senior teammates like Eric Gordon, Buddy Hield, right? And like DeAndre Ayton, that kind of squad and everything. But it's really exciting to kind of watch him play. I'm really excited to see him go forward, because what is he? He's like 6'7" or something like that. I don't know, but he's got stupid bounce and he's moving out there. Like effort-wise, looks really, really good. I'm really excited to see VJ Edgecombe a little bit more, because a little bit I've seen just in like his foreign play for such a young kid, really, really impressive. Who do we got next? Nolan, this is where the names start to mess with me a little bit. Traore, I don't exactly know how to say his name or anything. So St. Quentin, where exactly are you? I don't see anything about where he's like playing next year or anything. Or are we just supposed to assume he's going to be on St. Quentin? He's another French guy. That's all you need to know, is the French just keep him coming at the end of the day. I know he's like a real legit passer or something like that, and he was scoring like a shit ton in like a little bit of minutes or whatever. That's really all that I know about him all that much. What else do we have? Speed in the open floor. Love to see that. How big is he? Oh, 6'4" and fast. We'll take that. We'll 100% take that. What else do we got? But he's able to create and pass at slower pace in the half court. That's kind of what I've seen. Finishing, craft, touch, instincts, passing, consistently show, so he can run the floor and he can control the game. Love to see that. Okay, very, very interesting. Very cool. Trey Johnson, yeah, I've seen a little bit of this guy going to Texas or whatever. I want to say another like 6'6", 6'7" kind of wing. Really athletically gifted. One of the McDonald's All-Americans. Texas usually does a pretty good job of developing guys into pro players, so excited to see that. Though he relies heavily on his jump shot, it's highly advanced. Well, we can't complain about that at all. If you already got the jump shot down and you're athletic, I can teach you the rest of it, right? He's a threat from NBA range, pulling up, stepping back, falling away. He should also be expecting a starter's minute. Shot diet at Texas. Dylan Mitchell heading into Cincinnati. Yep. Eyes will be on physical, playmaking, defensive development. Yep, nope, that sounds about right for a young guy. But man, if you already got a lot of the shot creation down and everything, that's exciting stuff for me. That does look like pretty solid form all said and done. It looks like maybe he came together a little bit too soon, but otherwise, like this should be another interesting one, man. A lot of real cool physical specimens, if nothing else, in this one. Drake Powell, I'm not sure I'm familiar with Drake Powell here, going to NC. Going to be a freshman. Drake Powell is going to leave his mark next year by impacting games in different, extremely well-rounded, capable of making plays on or off the ball. What position is he? He's a shooting guard. He looks like kind of an interesting frame for a shooting guard, personally. Passing, improved catch and shot game, and athleticism at the rim. North Carolina will ultimately value his energy, defensive activity, and overall versatility. Okay, interesting. So more of a Swiss Army knife type guy. Maybe a do-it-all kind of dude, but maybe not at a high level. Kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm not as familiar with his game, so y'all let me know there. Next up, Asa Noel. Yeah, no, I've watched him play in person before, actually. He's been really impressive to me. He's going to Georgia, power forward. Everything that I've seen of him, dude gets up and down the court in a hurry, like, and a lot of the young dudes do nowadays, but he gets up, he crashes the glass incredibly hard, like a very determined rebounder. I've seen him go up and block some crazy shots, because he's like 6'10". Oh, it does say here, doesn't it? Yep, 6'10". Yeah, big, oh, yep, live motor too. That's what I noticed in my little bit of time watching him. Was able to step out and hit the three pretty confidently too. I didn't see it like a whole bunch, but he was I was watching him and I'm like, ooh, this is an interesting one right here. This is a guy that's bouncy and kind of moving around. Looks like he could develop into a nice NBA kind of forward at some point. I'm curious to watch him continue to develop. If you gave this guy a handle, ooh, it could be dirty. It could be real dirty. Carter Knox going to Arkansas. Not too familiar with you. Following John Calipari. Oh, I do remember this story though. So what do we got? What do we got? Still, even if his role remains limited compared to most other lottery picks, his positional strength, attacking, and confident shot making should still pop scouts. That doesn't really tell me anything. He'll likely have to sell them with flashes. Okay, so we're not sure. He's just an incredible physical specimen. 6'6", 225, 19-year-old. Jesus Christ, what are they feeding these kids? That's insane. For reference, right? Like me being at like a similar level at one point. Like I was a really big guard at 6'5", like 220. Like I was a really big guard. That's crazy. 6'6", 225. That's crazy, man. You're grown already, yeah. So if you got any sort of skill whatsoever, you should be able to do something. That's really cool. Who do we got? Oh, I've watched this guy. So for those of you that don't know my company, what I do is I'm basically like how should I best explain this? I should have an elevator pitch ready for people. I'm like a third-party analytics company for basketball teams, right? They come in, I become like a consultant for them. I also consult on like strategy and like team building and the statistical way behind like all of that stuff and kind of how everything kind of fits into one big picture. I have Australian clients and I've seen this guy play before. Rocco Zakarski. I like Rocco a lot. I just like his name. That's an amazing name. But he's like 7'2", and he's like pretty active around the rim. And I know he blocked like a stupid amount of shots in the NBL this year. 7'2", 17-year-old, 13% of his opponent's shots. That's nuts. That is absolutely nuts. Yeah, springy, big, white Australian man. I like him. Yeah, light on his feet, quick off the ground under the basket. Yeah, so he'll be a nice, like, run, jump, and dunk guy, block shots. I love guys like this. These are, like, my favorite kind of centers. Can look vulnerable guarding away from the basket. That's okay. Like, we can't all be great at everything, and his offense is still limited. Don't care. If you can protect the rim for me and go up and catch alley-oops, that's enough for me. I'll figure the rest out. But yeah, NBA teams will be interested in that. I can tell you from the little bit I've seen, I really, really like Rocco. Who do we got next? Igor Damin, BYU. How did BYU get one of these dudes? Average 18 points at the Adidas Next Generation Tournament. Okay, shooting guard, small forward. He creates advantages with athletic pop and burst for slashing. Okay, so he's quick off his feet and everything. I take it this is him here. This is Igor. Okay, interesting. Where is he playing in? I'm curious. Where is he from? How he shoots and executes on creation possessions will determine how high he climbs in the 2025 draft boards. He only shot 3 of 21 from 3 at ANGT. Oh, okay. So there was a EuroLeague tournament. That's why I didn't recognize the jerseys or anything like that. Is that what this is? Gotcha. Okay, so EuroLeague guy at the end of the day. Interesting. So shooting guard, slasher type thing. Continues to make offense, I'm guessing, but hasn't quite figured out the shot or anything yet. So a little bit raw in some of the more fundamental parts of the game. Okay, good to know. Oh, geez. Michael Rusic? Joventut, power forward. Okay, yeah, big, skinny, white. I like it. Having played over 17 minutes per game at 17, that's actually pretty impressive. For those of you that don't know, this is like a Spanish league or whatever. Oh, I should have just kept reading Spanish ABC. Rusic was the main draw at Eurocamp. He delivered one of the better performances, a 28-point showcase of inside-out scoring versatility and shooting range, face-up footwork, and instincts around the basket. Doesn't this just look like kind of like Porzingis coming in? Just like big, skinny dude like this. Looks a little bit dead in the eyes. I like it. His lack of quickness and athletic pop may cap the height of his theoretical ceiling, but to be this productive with interior tools and perimeter skills at his age, Rusic seems to be on track to becoming an established name next draft cycle. Can I get like a height and weight on him? What do we got? 6'10" shooter? Okay, I'm interested. I always get a little bit nervous when you're not athletic, because like they said, it kind of caps your ceiling a little bit there, but interesting nonetheless. Oh, yes. Malak, Common Malak. I don't know how to say it, but watched enough of him play. He's going to Duke this year. Is he also a part of the like Bohemian team? Where is he from? I don't exactly remember. Oh, he's from Sudan. Yeah, that makes way more sense. Well, I don't know. Who am I thinking that might be on the Bohemian team? Y'all let me know. So yeah, this guy is, I presume, another product of like the Luol Deng going and finding people out there in like Africa and stuff like that and sending them over here. I've seen him play. Stupid crazy athlete. He's like 7'2", crazy rim protector, stuff like that, moves elite, right? Like, so big ass Clint Capella. That's kind of what we're seeing of him. 7'6" wingspan, and movement for finishing and rim protection should draw plenty of lottery interest. Yeah, if you can, like, I've seen him run. pretty nuts. You're that tall and you can run, you can play in the NBA. I'll give it to you, my friend. We'll make it work somehow. Isn't likely to do much around the perimeter. Totally fine. Him and Cooper. Oh, they fit Cooper into here. That's going to be a fun draw for Duke this year. That can be some real highlight plays right there. That's a lot of athleticism. Donovan Freeman. I've seen him play a little bit because I've got a buddy at IMG. So he's going to Syracuse, power forward. Yep. He was left off the 2025 projections back in October. Donnie Freeman had a big year at IMG. They call him what? Donnie Freeman? Okay, fair enough. Improving his offensive skill for a 6'9", rangy forward, he's developed into a versatile scorer, capable of getting buckets in different ways, hitting threes and pull-ups, attacking closeouts, and using touch around the post. Okay, I don't really know exactly what that means. He's just kind of scoring in a bunch of different ways. He's just kind of taking what comes to him. That's cool. He's got a full arm sleeve already. Is he one of these like fifth-year dudes that go to these schools? It better not be. I can't stand when people do stuff like that. I don't know. I think it's kind of weird. Oh, he's the Bohemian dude. Okay. Do we have like an age on him by any means? Like, do they mention this stuff at all on any of these pages? No? Okay, fair enough. Whatever, I don't care that much. But interesting player nonetheless. A couple power forwards coming in this one, and not a lot of consistency as to where these guys are coming from, so that should make for an interesting kind of college season and stuff. Ooh, Dink Pate. If you guys watched any Ignite basketball this year, you've seen Dink play. By the way, elite name, Dink Pate. I think that's how you say him, Pate. I don't know, but elite name nonetheless. Point guard, shooting guard. He's like 6'8", can handle the ball pretty well. The field goal percentage was pretty rough this year, but the playmaking, a lot of the decision making and stuff was actually pretty good. The ball handling was pretty solid. So like, you're gonna have a nice prospect this year. Yeah, he's going to the Mexico City Go-Go this year, which I actually have another buddy that's a part of that squad. So shout out those guys. But no, he should be an interesting one nonetheless. The field goal percentage, you don't really worry about it at this age. When you got 6'8" and you can do all those types of things, like obviously are you going to get drafted to a place where you can kind of execute on that potential? It's hard to say. The ball doesn't tend to be in as many people's hands nowadays as it used to. Maybe as the Celtics and Nuggets teams continue to win, maybe teams will kind of figure out that that's probably a better play style, but I'm interested to see him play nonetheless. He looks like a really good NBA prospect. Will Riley going to Illinois. Ooh, I always like watching Illinois basketball. I'm from Chicago originally, for those of you that don't know, so I always like rooting for like Illinois. I was always a big Notre Dame fan growing up too. For those of you in Illinois know that there's a lot of Notre Dame fans in there as well. Coming off an impressive EYBL session with UPlay. Oh, okay, gotcha. Will Riley committed to Illinois and reclassified to play college basketball in 2024, making him eligible for 2025. Okay, so he's a little bit younger and he's moving up, so we'll take that. That's 6'7". He's a tough scorer with a crafty shot, making the ability to improvise or counter into difficult jumpers and floaters. That's always something I really like to see, because I think that's a good indicator for like future success. Despite an underwhelming frame and limited explosion, he finds a way to get to his spots. After some impressive moments through the Nike Hoop Summit week, Riley should be on the NBA team's radar. Can I get like what are we saying with this like height and weight and everything? Will Riley. So we got 6'8", 180. Ooh, yeah, you were a skinny boy. You're a skinny boy. Okay, where else did you have offers to? Alabama? Yeah, I'm not surprised you didn't go there. There was a bunch of other people in that position. Okay, fair enough. Well, he should get some burn with Illinois this year. Curious to see how he does. Who do we got now? Darian Reed, Alabama. Familiar with him? So Alabama should be pretty loaded, in all honesty, this year. Obviously, they've got the two guys coming back this year. Can't remember the point guard's name now, the little motherfucker that shoots all those threes. He's tough as hell, and then Grant Nelson's coming back. Big fan of Grant Nelson. But Darian Reed coming into a pretty loaded team. The wing should be a little bit more open for them. I have watched him on the circuit a little bit. Good defender, smart passer and stuff. Just seems like a smart basketball player all around. Seems like the game's pretty easy for him. So curious to see what happens when he gets into an Alabama system that's maybe not quite as active as, like, I don't know, maybe some of the other schools you can find. Not that many college basketball systems are any good, but curious to see how he does there. Colin Murphy Boyles, South Carolina. So he'll be a sophomore. Don't really remember watching him play much this year, in all honesty. Didn't bother testing the draft process this year. Okay, with more minutes and touches next season, should be able to put together a stronger case or polarizing game. Okay, so he's polarizing. That's why I'm not too familiar with him. On paper, he's an undersized big lacking a modernized skill set, but it may also become difficult to argue with his effectiveness around the key and short corners. Well, I promise you we'll be able to kind of knock that a little bit in the draft process, because that's just not a skill that people are looking for. But okay, so undersized big, good around the rim and stuff like that. Sounds like a good college player. If he's got a high motor, maybe he can make it as a reserve or something like that, but we'll have to keep an eye out on him this year. Liam McNeely. This guy looks like an absolute stud. It's going to UConn. That's always good. That's always a good start. Even with Alex Caravan returning, there should be a starting role waiting for McNeely here. Advanced shooting, IQ, and generally a high skill level. Hint at an easy fit at every level. Yep, so advanced shooting and high IQ, he's going to excel in a UConn system. That's pretty much just an NBA system. We love to see that. The stroke stands out first, though he's also shown the ability to attack closeouts and finish runners with both... finish runners with both hands. What does that mean? Like, because I interpret a runner as like a floater. So, I'm so stupid. I'm thinking like that he's finishing it with literally both hands, like he's playing volleyball or something like that. Okay, he can finish with both hands. I'm just stupid. Don't mind me. I'm just coming off the 4th of July where I was just baking out in the sun all the time. An efficient off-ball scorer and play finisher. Okay, who rarely makes unforced errors. He'll earn many fans who see a plug-and-play complementary role player. Okay, so maybe not a ton of upside, but just a smart basketball player. We like to see that, UConn. We like to see that. Jason Sanon? I don't know. Joson Sanon? Arizona State. Okay, Arizona State. Let's see what y'all got going on. Older. International opponents had trouble stopping Sanon at Eurocamp. After flipping from Arizona to Arizona State, he's now walking into a featured role that will showcase his downhill driving, shot making, and ability to facilitate. Okay, interesting. He already told Bleacher Report that he's one and done, and oh, that's bold. And Sanon should have enough freedom, physical talent, and scoring playmaking skills to sell NBA teams in 1 year at school. Okay, interesting enough. That doesn't tell us much at all about him, but we'll keep our eyes out for him. Carter Bryant, Arizona freshman, another small forward. A lot of lengthy wings in this. Those are valuable, man. Like, we need those in the NBA nowadays. So finding them, man, we can do it. Also, look at the baby face on this dude. Oh my God, what happened? That is a baby face right there, but we can, it doesn't matter. We'll mature. Despite being left off the Nike Hoops Summit roster, oh, interesting, got to scrimmage against it in Portland, and he capitalized in front of NBA scouts. He looks the part with NBA wing size, fluidity, and perimeter flashes. Whether he's one and done will come down to the decision making and efficiency. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say like those things necessarily. Like, those things can help, but that's not also, those things don't necessarily deter scouts always. It may be difficult for Bryant to maintain rhythm in a lineup that brings back Caleb Love. Where is he going? Arizona. That is where Caleb Love is now. KJ Lewis, yep, Krivas. Yeah, no, they got a decent little team. Orso, yeah, he's solid. So, yeah, no, he's going to be on a solid team. Arizona usually plays, like, at least fast basketball, so if he can play in any sort of pace whatsoever, he should be interesting. So, we dig that. Jaleel Bethea, Miami. Okay, wow, we're jumping out the gym on this one. Those are some sick unis as well. So, he was in the Powerade Jam Fest. Okay. Wooga Popular, transferring to Villanova, just opened up the door wider for Jaleel Bethea to build a stronger one-and-done case. He's shifty, self-creation score with advanced shot making, which allows him to take over for stretches of game. 6'4", 170. Okay, so that's why he's jumping so high. Gotcha. His body will need to change as he plays at higher levels. I don't necessarily always agree with that. Like, it depends. Like, what are you using that for? So when I came in as a freshman, I told you guys I was 6'5", 220. Within 3 months, which this was not healthy, like, I don't recommend you doing this, I dropped down to 6'5", 180. And that's because I wanted to work out as much as possible. I was kind of psychotic with it. And so I'm not even kidding you. I probably was working out like 11 to 12 hours a day, whether it's like playing basketball, swimming, like exercising, like getting shots up, doing individual workouts, lifting, like all those things. I dropped weight so fast. And I don't personally probably eat enough, honestly. So my game had to change a ton because I was used to being a strong guard that like really goes in and like hits people, and then I try to do that and I'm like bouncing off them all of a sudden, and now I'm like, oh, now I'm quick enough to go around them and I'm bouncy enough to go just punch it on people whenever I want. And so that's kind of the game that I started to develop. And then I determined, okay, I should probably put some weight back on, and I got back up to like the 215 range or something like that. But it's I'm just saying there's different ways to play around it. Just because you go to the NBA with like that size and everything, I don't think it's necessarily a deterrent. It just means a different play style. Jameer Watkins, Florida State. Again, there's not a lot of repetition competition where these guys are going. So that's really interesting to see. There's not a lot of pileup happening, and I guess that's kind of the NIL thing, right? Like, it's going to divvy up the talent a little bit more. So Florida State, Jameer Watkins, he'll be a senior this year. Oh, that's right. I was going to say, I remember watching this dude at the Combine, I feel like. Okay, gotcha. 1 year of improved shot making should do the trick. His wing size and positional strength, handle playmaking, defensive tools create a coveted archetype. One jump as a shooter should push Watkins into first round discussions. Okay, so one of the more like experienced dudes coming in. Okay, yeah, we've seen guys like this all the time. So interesting. If he develops a little bit of a jump shot, should be solid. He'll be a senior at Florida State. That should be a fun one, man. That should be a fun one. Ian Jackson. I feel like I've seen some of this guy. He's going to North Carolina as a shooting guard. What position was the other guy? I don't really remember. Ian Jackson has been one of the most like visible and accessible prospects for scouts. Yep, I was going to say, I know I've seen him somewhere. Having played in 3 FIBA tournaments. Okay, that's why. The All-Star circuit last spring. Gotcha. And, okay, he played against Overtime Elite. He's a pure scorer who provides rim pressure, confident shot making, and off-ball movement. So what, does he not, he's not able to play like with others or something? Jackson would have some adjustments to make in a starting lineup alongside Cadeau and RJ Davis. With North Carolina bringing sharpshooters like Tyson, Jackson may actually benefit from playing in an offensive spark role off the bench. Okay, so yeah, he doesn't necessarily play with others. He's just like, he can hoop by himself. Okay, one of those dudes. That's always something interesting to see. You would presume that North Carolina would make him play into their system a little bit. I'll be curious. Kwame Evans, yep, watched him play a little bit this year. There was honestly like plenty of moments where it looked like, yeah, this guy could be a first round pick this year or something like that. But then there were other moments where it looked like it was a little bit less than desirable because what is he, like 6'6" or something? Oh, 6'9". He didn't look that big to me, but you never know when these actual like heights come in at the end of the day. But yeah, looks like an interesting wing prospect. Can do a little bit of everything. Saw him put the ball on the floor. Saw him shoot a little bit. Get to the rack. Play make. Saw him do a little bit of everything. Also a lot of stretches where it didn't look as good. So he's definitely a name to watch for this year. JT Toppin. Don't tell me he's related to the other Toppins. He doesn't look like the other Toppins. But Texas Tech, power forward. Well, he might be then. A productive year at New Mexico earned JT Toppin an NBA Combine invitation. Don't really remember seeing him. Despite choosing to withdraw from the draft, he performed well against the 2024 second-round picks by tapping into his motor, scoring instincts. He finished third among freshmen last season in box minus. And now he's with Texas Tech. Okay, Texas Tech has had a lot of good power forwards in the past, so they should know what to do with him. He's still 19 years old by the 2025 draft. Interesting. Okay, so what? He's just around the basket and stuff like that? Okay, fair enough. Interesting. Jaren Stevenson. Yep, also going to Alabama. I remember seeing this one as well. Alabama's so loaded this year. So loaded. More consistency next season should earn him a spot in the first round. 6'11" forward with a 3-point stroke. That's cool. Doesn't turn 19 till October. Cool. He went off during the Elite Eight, scoring 19 points on 5 made triples. Yep, Alabama returning. Mark Sears, that's who I'm talking about. And Grant Nelson could make it difficult for the sophomore to receive too many more reps, but he figures to be a sharpshooter, more confident. Yeah, he should be an interesting one. I'll be curious to see where Grant Nelson and Mark Sears go next year if they end up being like draft picks. I think both of them have like NBA level talent and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed watching them, so I guess we'll see. Darren Harris. Ooh, another Dookie. Ooh, interesting. Another just baby face on this guy, right? Like, why look so sad, man? Like, smile for pictures. Darren Harris combined to score 56 points in 2 games to lead Paul to Chipotle national titles against Monteverde. Okay, cool. Beat Monteverde. That's always an accomplishment. In 33 games logged by Synergy Sports. Never know how to trust that exactly, but he shot... No, they're actually generally pretty good. He shot 43.9 on spot-up jumpers and 54.9% off screens, numbers that highlight adaptable off-ball scoring skills. Harris's challenge will be standing out, because they got Tyrese Proctor, Caleb Foster, guys like that. Yeah, there's just a bunch of other names going on here, but we're saying we got a shot maker in this guy here. A shot making shooting guard. Cool. Excited to watch it. Last one, KJ Lewis. Yeah, the Arizona guy. Gotcha. A little more stockier build for a wing. There was some guesswork in projecting this 2020 draft, as a lot will depend on the improvement of this offseason and how his shot looks as a sophomore, but Lewis excels in areas you can't teach. Any skill development would be significant. Yeah, he's a smart basketball player, which doesn't always come from Arizona, so that's cool to see. Seems like a really hard worker and stuff too, but no, we'll be excited to watch KJ Lewis this year. Arizona looks like they'll have a nice little team put together this year. Obviously, we'll watch some Duke, some Alabama, things like that. But you guys let me know, are there any prospects that you're looking forward to watching this next season that I should look into? Like, I'm not really doing my homework just yet, but you got to start at some point, so why not start soon? But hey, I appreciate you guys watching. As always, make sure you keep it clean in the comments. I don't want to have to hide anybody from the channel or anything. Just make sure you're like collaborative and not being rude to people. That's just how we want to do it at the end of the day. Ooh, don't get me demonetized, NBA. I know you're trying to. But anyway, I appreciate you guys as always, and we'll talk to you later.